What's up, guys? Welcome to another video. Today we're going to put a little lift on the Bronco. Okay, about 2-inch lift on here. I had somebody online that said, hey, you want these for 50 bucks? I was like, shit, I'll take them. We'll see how they work. We'll see how they go. All right, so it is a bit of a process to put these on because you have to take apart the whole suspension on all four corners in order to put these on the very top of the struts, just to add the I mean, this right here is about 1.5 inches. But once it's on there, the way the angle hits is about 2 inches. It should be about a 2-inch lift. So we're going to do a quick measurement, see where it's at before and see where it ends up after, okay? Okay, so we're going to do quick measurements on the wheel well before and after, and maybe the front and the back, and see how it goes. Okay, just from the bottom straight through the wheel, and it sits right at like almost 37.5, right? The back, I think the back should be a little higher. The back sits at about, dang, almost 39.5. Let's make sure I have this in the middle here. Almost 39.5. This might not change too much, but right now we're at about almost 11.5 to here. Okay, just the hitch itself straight down. It's about 18 3/4. Okay, we're gonna do one more measurement here. We're gonna measure just the very edge of the wheel up. This is right above 4, about 4, almost 4.25. And then the passenger side rear, we're talking, it's right at 6. Okay, we're gonna jack up the vehicle and put it on some heavy duty jack stands. Just make sure they are secure. Okay, we're gonna start by removing the whole caliper itself, right? So this is here 19 millimeter. Wait, 18 or is it 18? 18. Okay, so this right here is the 18 millimeter. We're removing this so we can remove this whole thing out of the way. We're gonna remove this. We can move this out of the way. Remove this to drop it. Remove obviously these two. And then this one down here too. And I'll tell you what all the sizes are as I'm getting there. Okay, once I remove everything out of the way, I should be able to pop that out through the top and load it in. All right, 18 millimeter bolts removed. Again, they go right through here and they connect right here. These have Loctite on them, so man, they're pretty tight to remove. I mean, they stay hard all the way through. I'm just gonna set this right here for now. I'm gonna remove this and then hang it here to the side so it's out of the way. The brake pad, I'm sorry, the disc itself is pretty much loose. Let's remove this. The rotor. Okay, this is a 10 millimeter. Comes out nice and easy. Hold up. Okay, then on this side you have this is like the ABS sensor, speed sensor for the rotor. This is an 8 millimeter bolt and it should just pop out. Come on. Okay, so the 8 millimeter here does come out and the sensor is pretty long. I don't think I've ever seen one this long. So this all pops out with a little bit of force. It pops out. I just got a wire here and I hung it here on the side so it kind of stays out of the way again. Removing the dust cover. Loosening up the 21 millimeter sway bar, the 21 millimeter lower ball joint, and the 18 millimeter upper ball joint. Okay, so most of these are pretty loose. This one came out pretty easily. The bottom one came out. These two came out very easy. This one is not hard to turn, but actually the whole thing's turning. So this is what I'm doing. This is number 7. I don't know if it's 7 millimeter or if it's 7. I don't know. I just know it has a 7 on there. So you put that in there, and then you get this. And you get the whole one while you turn the other, right? Because right now, if you're turning it, the whole thing's turning. Okay, everything's loose. Now I still left the bolts in there just to, I don't want anything to fall out. Because I'm going to have to hit this a couple times here. See if this unlocks. And same thing for the bottom. Hit it a couple times here. See if it drops. I might not need to drop this. On the F-150, I was able just to push this back and disconnect this here. This is the only thing that's still tightened. This one I did have to go buy a new socket because this is a 36 millimeter socket. It's a little smaller than a 36 and probably metric. I mean, it's probably standard. I don't know, but 36 works. But everything else is loosened up. Okay, I just broke that metal breaker bar. This thing is on here tight. So I have one metal iron pipe on that side, and now I'm gonna jack it up with this pretty heavy duty see what happens here. You can see that metal bending. Look at that. I mean, come on. How are you not popping off yet? Did he just do something? Let's see if that worked. Holy shit, that worked. Wow. I've never seen a nut so tight. Okay, it's off. Now I did put this in here with these bolts and I tried to line it up in the back. Try to do it again so you can see. So when you turn it, it's just hitting the very edge of this and the very edge of this and setting it, actually tightening it up in there. Right? This is just some workshop ingenuity. That way it doesn't mess up the threads on this and it keeps the actual pipe tight. It worked. The actual steering link, I don't know what the hell it's called, the actual link for steering that goes here, this was really hard to come out. I also had to bang on it a few times for it to finally get removed. Okay, the bottom one here is loose. We're just going to remove the top ones here, and I believe these are 15 millimeters if I remember correctly. Okay, so yeah, these are 15 millimeters right here to remove the top of the actual struts. But my phone just beeped. I think I have a package in. I'll come back later if I find it. All right, guys, we got a new package in. So this is excited about this new project right here. It's actually a hidden winch that goes on the Bronco. So stay tuned. We're going to be able to put that up hopefully in the next couple weeks. This is just 15 millimeters. And they all need to come out. Okay, the top ones are all removed. There is like an AC line that's right behind this thing. You have to be careful with that, but yeah. So now once you push down on the whole thing, it all kind of comes off. So what I'm gonna do is I already removed the bottom two bolts, those 18 millimeters, and the top one. So I'm just gonna push this down with my foot and then slide this out. Okay, so it took a lot of little prying and pushing on the actual lower control arm down, but it popped out. Cool. This needs to be removed. And then we can insert the actual spacer up here. Right. So this should just pop off. This is just a guide for whenever they're assembling it. There's one on each side. Interesting. Okay, so now we can insert the actual spacer like that. You can use the original. You can use either one of them, doesn't matter. No, let's put the original in the original. The original's here, and then the new one's on here, okay? These are symmetrical, so it doesn't matter which way you put these in. And the actual spacers itself are very flat. If you go above the 1.5 inch spacer, which is a 2-inch lift, you'll see some of these that are kind of angled. So then make sure you have the right angle on it. Make sure you put the angle in or out, depending on where it goes. Okay, so we're doing the same thing on the driver's side now, right? Already got the caliper out of the way, hung up there, removed the 10mm bolt. I removed the dust cover also. I don't know if I mentioned that on the other side, but these are just 8mm bolts here. And the speed sensor thing right here is also 8. And then I always, if you've seen me do this before, I always put the bolts back where they were, even those back where they were, so I don't lose them, right? They don't get lost. Okay, so now we're gonna go. This I had already removed, right? Sway bar, it's completely disconnected. Now I'm gonna do the same thing to the tie rod and the upper and bottom ball joint. Okay. Okay, so the driver's side is not any easier. I mean, it is tight. There it goes. You saw that? Boom. Okay, so here's the dilemma I have. So these are the both struts. This is the passenger side, this is the driver's side. If you see the bottom part is kind of angled in, that's angled in, like towards the inside of the vehicle, right? That doesn't matter so much because those you can adjust them a little bit, so it doesn't matter as much. But then the top side is also kind of angled in that way. And this one too. Which is fine if you just put it straight in. But this requires 2 bolts on the outside, 1 on the inside. As soon as you put the spacer in there, now you have 2 bolts on the inside and 1 on the outside, right? So you either have to turn this around to be this way, so it'll connect in there, like that. But now you're going to be angling out. Again, these are angling out also. Doesn't matter as much because it is the same. Again, these can move a little bit. I can move those. That's not a problem. So what I'm thinking is switching them. Put in the driver's side and the passenger side and the driver's side, and see how that works. Okay, so I'm having a hard time lining this up. I even took the bottom bolts out to see if I could force it in there, and it still won't. So I'm gonna go to plan B because it's too tight up there, and with this fiend arm, we're gonna remove the lower control arm. I did this last time on my truck, and I didn't do this part here. So we're going to line this up. So I'm gonna paint here, make a little line so we can put it back as close as possible to make the alignment a little better. Do the same thing in the front and back. That one. Okay, so I just drew a little yellow line all the way through it, both sides, there, all over. Okay, so we got it in there. Nothing's tightened down yet, right? But I was able to get the lower control arm off, install the strut back on, and then slowly use the jack itself to pick up the lower control arm and then align it in there so that it goes in. And I try to put the alignments exactly where the previous ones were. See? Anyways, it's going to be aligned in a couple days. Now I got to jack it back up here. See if we can line this thing up. I might have to loosen the upper control arm just to drop it down some, but hopefully not. All right, that is a very difficult 2-inch spacer lift. The angles The angles themselves are so tight that you pretty much have to loosen everything to fit it in there. And the CV joint, I mean, it's the passenger side. I was able to put the whole thing in there without messing the CV joint up at all. This one, the CV joint came off. I had a hard time fitting it back in and just pressuring it in all the way. I still need to tighten this hub nut. It's still not all the way tight yet. And I still need to tighten all this up, and the lower control arms back up also on both sides. Those right there are still loose, but pretty much done. Just need to put everything back together and tighten everything up, and then lower and see how it looks. Alright guys, make sure you tighten everything down to spec. That'll be the end of part 1 of this video. I'll do the second part with the back. Should be easier. We'll see how that goes, but hopefully the back is easier. But check out what it looks like so far. It has a little squat in the back, and it doesn't look too bad. It looks kind of level, but it does have obviously a little squat.